everybody, this is the Wikstrand. So this movie, if you remove Chris Hemsworth from the cast of this movie, this cast list is not a list of who's who of Hollywood, it's who's that. So casting a movie is very important. If they would have replaced Chris Hemsworth with Johnny Dumbfuck or Johnny Sameface or Johnny Who, it wouldn't have been as awesome as this one. I would go actually so far as saying that this is one of my favorite action movies of this decade. There hasn't been a, big selection of great action movies so far in the 2020s, but I would actually hold up this one as one of my favorites. Let's find out what it is about, shall we? This is Extraction. An Indian drug lord's son has been kidnapped by a Bangladesh drug lord and is now being kept in Dhaka, Bangladesh. And a contract goes out to save this child, and the mission goes to Tyler. He is played by Chris Hemsworth, who has scars and tattoos, a slightly too high alcohol consumption, and lots of sadness in his big, beautiful eyes. Anyway, he takes the mission rather swiftly. I mean, Tyler doesn't really have any other motivations for taking this job rather than, well, it's expensive to, take care of chickens. Good for him, I guess. Usually in these types of movies, it's a lot of, bickering and I don't want to do this and why should I do this? I am retired, I am so, I am this, I am that. I like that they skipped the entirety of the persuasion of doing the job and just go and do the job. So Tyler and his team comes to Dhaka and rescues the boy. The problem is when they are trying to leave Dhaka, they run into some problems because our fellow drug lord is best pal with the police officer, and all the corrupt police officers and military police in Dhaka has now locked down the entire city and are now searching for Hemsworth and the boy. So Tyler and the boy is now going to try to find their way out of Dhaka before they're both killed. This is essentially the story. And this movie is so fucking intense. There are battle sequences, there are action sequences in this movie that is absolutely stellar. It's mwah! It shows that there is a stuntman that has directed this one, in the same way as you could see that John Wick was directed by a stuntman. It has this intensity and eye for details when it comes to battle sequences, action sequences, fighting sequence and all that good stuff. Fantastic car chases, fantastic foot chases, and the 11-minute long sequences without a cut. I'll say that with quotation marks because it's stitched together by lots of small little cuts, but you don't see them in the same way as Birdman was made. But the difference between this one and Birdman is that when it came to Birdman, it just was a gimmick to make the movie feel a little bit special. In this case, it just gave the movie a new level of intensity. I like that a lot. Chris Hemsworth is badass in this movie. He is just a murdering one-man army who just kills everything in front of him, and in some cases also to the left and to the right. And behind him, there is going to be a lot of police officers who will be sent back in body bags, but thankfully I don't think any of them had either families or children. I like the fact that this movie is rated R. It really helped this movie. If this would have been, a coward PG-13 movie, I just would have sitting there going, this is supposed to be an R-rated movie, but it isn't. Now, this is how you do a great modern action movie, in my opinion. I was also so happy that they skipped a lot of the classical cliches that would populate a movie like this. That is also why I got very, very irritated and very, very surly when some of the oldest and most abused and used cliches of all time started to showing up, and I was just, come on! Are we doing this? It doesn't help this movie's case that it also has one of the worst cop-outs that I've seen in recent years. I was like, really? Come on! Jesus Christ! So, That is a problem, but it is not too big of a problem, mostly because this movie is so focused, and because of the action sequences intensity, and because of how much you like Chris Hemsworth as a character. You really want Chris Hemsworth and the boy to actually be able to escape Dhaka, and you're with them all the way. This movie is apparently based on some graphic novel I have never heard of and never read, so I don't know if it follows it or if it, takes a complete detour from what they were doing. If you want to have some unapologetic ass-kicking, car chasing and intense raid-style fight sequences, look no further than Extraction. It is a good, very uncomplicated, intense, brutal, bloody and spectacular action movie. What more could you ask for? Except maybe for a little bit less cliches and a little bit of a different ending. I like the fact that they try to introduce a level of realism in this movie. Not too much, because if they would have gone full realism, Chris Hemsworth would be dead like 10 minutes after they had arrived in Dhaka or something like that. But I kind of accept the fact that he survives all of this, because he's the god of thunder after all, so a little bit of Thor must still be in him, I guess. I recommend this movie. It's brutal, it's entertaining, and it's a really fun time. Extractions may have tons of cliches and a bit of a cop-out ending, but I still give this movie 83 points. One of the very few highlights of 2020, a terrible movie year with some good in it. This is actually one of my favorite movies of 2020. It's also very American in a sense, because it has absolutely no nudity, but it has lots of violence. So I'll see you next time for Well So and So reviewing, well, such and such. Thank you for watching. Thank you very much.